My name is Anna Whetstone, and this is my National History Day project. Communication in History, the Invention of the Alphabet. How many times a day do you think you use the alphabet? The alphabet is everywhere, from books to road signs and text messages and captioning social media posts. We use the alphabet more times than we can count. Without consciously thinking about it, the alphabet is a huge part of our life. It's hard to imagine life without it. But there was a time when there wasn't an alphabet, at least not the one we know today. A, B, and C have taken a long journey to get where they are today. It was first invented by seafaring people called the Phoenicians. As the Phoenicians traded, their alphabet spread. The Greeks added vowels to it, and the Romans tweaked it to suit their needs. Letters were removed and added until our 26th alphabet emerged. The invention of the alphabet has, without a doubt, changed the world. The creation of the alphabet by the Phoenicians relates to communication and history because it united diverse peoples through writing, it helped increase trade, and its simplicity made it easier for records to be kept and read. From the American Constitution to epic fiction novels like The Hunger Games, the alphabet allows us to communicate our ideas and stories to thousands of people and generations. To begin with, the creation of the alphabet by the Phoenicians relates to communication and history because it united diverse peoples through writing. When the alphabet came to be, there were many diverse and developed civilizations. All these peoples had established trade amongst themselves, and while trade united them to a degree, having a common alphabet strengthened the relationship between the different civilizations in the Mediterranean. Now, among other things, the Phoenicians are best known for their seafaring abilities and their trade-based economy. The Phoenicians' most rare and expensive commodities were cedar wood and purple dye. Nearly everyone traded with the Phoenicians or was in contact with the many Phoenician colonies. According to a map depicting Phoenicia, the Phoenician trade routes reached as many as 7 city/trading centers. This means that along with their commodities, their new alphabet was being traded with other people from all over the Mediterranean world. When those other civilizations began picking up the alphabet and using it, they became united with one another in a way never seen before. Even as the alphabet script changed to fit the needs and preferences of each civilization, they all shared the same root with the Phoenician alphabet. Writing united people because it allowed them to communicate messages and share ideas and express culture across oceans and even over long distances. Not only could people communicate through speaking, they could communicate through writing. And even today, the alphabet still unites people from different countries who speak different languages. Take this, for example. This is lots of ways you can say hello. And so we have all these different countries and people who use our alphabet, and it unites us because we all share this one way of communicating. Second, the invention of the Phoenician alphabet relates to communication in history because it helped to increase trade amongst civilizations. During the time when the alphabet was invented, goods were traded for exchange for other goods. Coins and paper bills hadn't been invented yet, not in the Mediterranean world at least. It was important that records of trade were kept. Before the Phoenician alphabet, there were the Sumerians' cuneiform. Instead of having symbols for sounds, there were symbols for words. While this method worked and was effective, it wasn't efficient. There were thousands of symbols, and it took someone years to master and memorize all of them. This meant that only upper-class citizens were literate, as they were the only ones who had time to learn all these symbols. There needed to be a better way, a simpler way to keep track of trade and purchases. It needed to be compatible for many languages, and it needed to be read easily and taught easily. And so the Phoenicians invented their alphabet. Their alphabet script was based off of the Egyptian hieroglyphics. Unlike the thousands of symbols and cuneiforms, the Phoenician alphabet had only 22 symbols that stood instead for unique sounds instead of pictures and words. This made merchants and tradesmen were able to quickly learn it, making the lower class population more literate. With this simplistic way of writing, trade increased and became more easier. And here we have a picture of a Phoenician sail ship. Finally, the invention of the Phoenician alphabet relates to communication in history because its invention made it easier for records to be kept and read. Records written by ancient peoples have contributed a huge part to what we know about ancient history. Writing, journaling, and record keeping are ways people in the past were able to communicate to us today. And thanks to the alphabet, these ancient records are so much easier to read and decipher. As mentioned before, the first form of writing, cuneiform, had hundreds of symbols that stood for different words, objects, and ideas. It was hard for people back then to learn and read these symbols, but even harder for us today to understand what these ancient people were trying to communicate. The same goes for the Egyptian hieroglyphs. Until the discovery of the Rosetta Stone in 1799, we weren't able to understand or read the obscure hieroglyphs. But what we have been able to easily read is the records kept by the Greeks and Romans, because their alphabet came from the Phoenicians and is most like our own. We know that the Phoenicians spread their alphabet all over the Mediterranean world, and we know that the Greeks received it and changed it. The Greeks added vowels to the 22-letter script, so it would better suit their needs. The ancient Greeks contributed so much to modern society, architecture, government ideas, and philosophy. And to this day, Socrates, Aristotle, and Plato are celebrated and well-known philosophers. We are able to have their teachings and discussions and ideas because they wrote them down in the Greek alphabet, which is something we can easily read, essentially because of the Phoenician alphabet. The alphabet still makes writing and keeping records so much easier. We use the Latin alphabet, which has 26 letters when we write. Our alphabet, derived from the Phoenician alphabet, is simple enough to be taught to very young children and for them to use it to communicate. With our alphabet, we can write laws, convey messages through letters, and put our thoughts into words to share with people. The alphabet has changed the world and is continuing to change the world to this day. And here you can see how the alphabet, this is the Phoenician alphabet, this is the Greek alphabet, and this is our own alphabet. And you can see how it slowly started to change. So a lot of the letters are the same, but most of them are different. For example, M and N, you can see it bigger right here. This is M and N. They haven't changed much. M and N, M and N. Like here, this does look like an M, so you can see where we got our M. And the alphabet is, in my opinion, the biggest way that we are able to communicate in history, and it has changed the world. And I think it is just a perfect example of communication in history. Thank you.